checked. Stop recording.
Hey guys, it's Max here, and today I'm going to be doing a video that's technology related. I did say a while ago that I was going to start doing some videos like this, and the video that I'm going to do today is actually something unique that I know it's been covered on YouTube in the past, but I am actually going to show you guys another way to get Windows installed. Now this trick should work with really any version of Windows up after XP, so Vista and later, and there's a reason for that. Now I have tested this on Windows 7, 10, and 11. I have not tested this with 8 or 8.1, but I assume that this method should work on those. So normally when you go to install Windows, it pulls up this graphical installer that you hit next a couple times, maybe type a product key and select what Windows edition you want to install. There's actually another way to do it through the command line using a couple different utilities, and just do everything manually via the use of an install.wim file, which is basically what that is it's an image file that basically contains the actual Windows operating system, and it's included with every ISO of Windows, starting with Windows Vista, has that file there. And what you can do is you can actually use DISM, a command line utility inside of Windows, to manipulate Windows image files. So what we're gonna do is actually use I'm gonna do a command line install, and I'm gonna be doing this with Windows 10 on two different firmwares. The first is going to be the legacy BIOS firmware that a lot of older computers have, and then the second one I'm going to do is the more modern UEFI firmware that most computers have nowadays, because the installation looks a little bit different depending on what firmware you have. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll start out with just regular legacy BIOS firmware, and I'll go ahead and run this. Virtual machine.
Details not full screen check.
And I'll go ahead and full screen it so you guys can see that. Hopefully. This probably will take a second to boot, so give it a minute. It'll go. Probably not as fast as some people as I would like, but it'll do it.
Starting
All right,
narrator.
there's narrator.
Windows setup window.
Right
Install
now,
Windows.
we're in
Language to
the
install.
graphical
English.
installer.
United States.
And we're just
combo box.
we're in this installer.
Collapsed. Time and
it's
currency format.
For time and currency and all that. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna pretend this window doesn't even exist. Okay, we're not gonna have to touch it for this install. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna hit Shift F10.
Text area.
To go into a command prompt window.
Restore.
And I'll go ahead and
Administrator.
maximize it. And there we go. We're in our command prompt. Now the first thing we're going to do is type in disk part. We're going to go into the disk partitioning utility and partition our disk.
On computer, MinWinC. Microsoft Disk Part version 10.0.0.19041.964. Copyright.
All right, we don't need to hear all that. We're going to do a command. It's going to list off our disks. Now, this virtual machine only has one disk attached to it. And we're going to do list disk.
Disk part.
List
disk number.
It's going to
status,
give us this
size,
as output.
free, dyn, GPT.
And ignore this.
Dash.
And you'll hear
dash.
It start to announce
disk 0.
Here we go.
Online. 59 GB. 59 GB. Disk part.
So you hear the disk number, whether it's online, and then the size of the disk. Now we're going to select this disk. So we're going to type, I'm going to do the short form of all these commands. SEL space disk, and then the disk number 0.
Disk part.
All right.
Disk 0 is now the selected
So
disk.
here's how you do this.
Disk
So
part.
you're gonna create two. There's gonna be two partitions. There's gonna be a system partition, and then there's gonna be the Windows partition. So the first one we're gonna create is the system partition. So we're gonna do CRE for create,
Space.
PAR for partition,
Space.
and the partition type is going to be primary. So we're gonna type PRI.
Space.
And then actually, before we do that, there's one other thing I'm gonna tell you guys, and I'm actually gonna do. Make sure that the disk is set to the correct partition scheme. So if you're using legacy BIOS, you're gonna type convert MBR.
Import a disk group.
Convert. Come on.
And disk part. Disk part successfully
There we
converted.
go. Now we can go ahead and do our CRE space PAR space PRI
space.
And then we're gonna do size
equals sign.
Let's do 200 megabytes. So just do size equals 200.
0.
And if my syntax is correct, it should create the partition for us.
Disk part. Disk part succeeded in creating the specified partition.
Okay. So then we're gonna do after that, you're just gonna do that partition needs to have the active flag set. So we're gonna type active
disk part. Disk part marked the current partition as active.
Okay. So now we need to format that as NTFS. So to do that, we're gonna do format
space
FS equals NTFS, and let's do a quick format. It doesn't need to be
format
doesn't need to
FS.
take that long.
Disk part format FS equals NTFS quick. 0% completed.
Here we go.
100% completed. Disk part successful.
Now we're gonna assign the letter S to it. So we're gonna do ASS
space
for assign letter equals S
disk part
colon.
Disk part. Disk part
There
successfully
we go.
assigned the drive letter or mount point.
We mounted that partition, and we're gonna do one more partition. This is going to be our main Windows partition that this thing is gonna boot into. So we're gonna do CRE PAR PRI. We're not gonna specify a size. It's gonna take up the rest of the disk, and we're gonna press enter, and it should create that partition
disk
for us.
Part.
And
disk
select
part
it.
Succeeded in creating the specified partition.
Yep. And from there, what we're gonna do, we're gonna do a quick format FS equals NTFS quick.
Disk part format FS equals NTFS quick. 0% completed. 100% completed.
And there we
disk
go.
part
Wrote
successfully
the
formatted the volume.
All right. Now, if I'm correct, all right. So this is our Windows partition. So we're gonna assign
S space.
So ASS
L
for assign letter
R
equals W.
Disk colon.
Now,
disk part.
You can mount this as C:\\, but you can really mount it as any letter because it'll be mounted as C:\, after the system reboots as Windows normally would mount the internal OS as it mounts as C:\\. But it's not required that it's mounted that way when you actually go to install it. So
disk part.
we're gonna go ahead
disk
and assign
part
the letter
successfully
W.
assigned the drive letter or mount point.
So now what we need to do
disk part.
is we need to so the ISO mounts as D:\\. So what we need to do now is use our DISM utility to go ahead and get the index numbers of because there's different Windows versions. There's Windows 10 Home, there's Windows 10 Education, there's Windows 10 Pro, there's all these different versions of Windows out there that exist nowadays, and we need to get the different editions to actually install. So the way we do that, first let's exit disk part. And our ISO mounts as as the drive letter D. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna go ahead and use DISM. I'm gonna type DISM
space
/ get
T
dash
hyphen
image
E
info
X colon backslash
slash
slash
image file, and our install.wim is located at d:/sources/install.wim. So I'm going to do image file
colon,
and then we're going to
x
do
colon
d:/sources /install.wim. And this should give us a nice,
sources
a pretty little
slash
output.
get image info slash image file d:/sources /install. Deployment image servicing and management tool, version 10.0.19041.1949.
Unfortunately, yes, we do have to let it read all
Details
this.
for image.
Here we go.
d:/sources
Now it's going to read off a bunch of numbers, and we have to
index
remember what number it gives us.
Name, Windows 10 Home.
So here we go.
Description.
Here we go.
Windows 10 Home, size 15,139,674,619 bytes. Index 2. Name, Windows 10 Home N. Description. Windows 10 Home N, size 14,368,233,902 bytes.
But this
Index.
time we actually
3.
have to use
Name,
DISM to
Windows
get these.
10 Home single
And
language.
we will have to specify
Description.
what version,
Windows
what,
10 Home single language.
what edition we want.
Size 15,142,346,396 bytes. Index 4. Name, Windows 10 Education. Description. Windows 10 Education, size 15,475,605,732 bytes. Index 5. Name, Windows 10 Education N. Description. Windows 10 Education N, size 14,684,197,328 bytes. Index 6. Name, Windows 10 Pro. Description.
Okay.
Windows 10
now,
Pro.
This is
size.
the one we're actually going to be installing. This, at least for this demonstration, is Windows 10 Pro. Now, again, if you need, let's say you want Windows 10 Home, you could do Index 1 or whatever the index number was for education. If you wanted to, I think it was like 4 or something like that. But for this install, we're going to go ahead and do Pro because that's my preferred. So the way that we do this, this is a pretty long command. We're going to do DISM slash apply image
space
slash index colon 6. Okay, we're going to do slash image file colon D colon backslash sources backslash install dot wim slash apply
X colon backslash
dir colon W
X
colon backslash. That's going to basically what we're telling our DISM utility here is take the edition Windows 10 Pro, which is index 6, and use the image D colon backslash sources backslash install dot wim, and then copy the contents of it to W colon backslash, which is going to end up being that's our Windows mount point. You can really tell this thing to copy it to any directory, but we want it to be at the root of the W partition. So what we're going to do now is, if this command was typed correctly, if I press enter, we should see it start to copy the stuff.
Deployment
over.
image
So
servicing and management tool, version 10.0.1904.1949, error 87. The APPL image option is unknown.
Maybe there may be a dash in the apply image command. Hold on.
Slash P L.
Hold on, let me make sure.
P A P I hyphen X colon backslash sources dism slash apply
dash image
dism slash apply image slash index 6 slash image file D colon backslash sources backslash install dot wim slash apply W backslash. Deployment image servicing and management tool, version 10.0.1904.1949. Applying image.
Okay.
Applying image.
All right. We'll hear it.
1.0%.
And it's going to give us some products.
2.0%.
Like some like
equals 3.0%.
Progress.
Equals.
Yep.
4.0%.
It shouldn't take terribly, not on my system at least, but you'll hear it do that.
18.0%.
It's gonna start showing different, more like equal signs on the screen, like almost as a progress indicator as it goes. And that's going to get really long. So I'm going to go ahead and use OCR to view the progress instead of narrator, because narrator is going to read all those symbols that we don't want. If you're doing this on bare metal hardware, then good luck to you, because you're stuck hearing that output, unfortunately. Because, yeah, you'll just hear narrator say equals, equals, equals as DISM goes further and further along in applying this image. Now, depending on what you're using to install this, it may take some time. For me, it probably won't take more than a couple minutes, because I've got a decently spec'd computer here. So we'll see. But I'm going to take it out of full screen for the time being.
Snapshot full screen, check menu, item check, menu.
And go ahead and run OCR.
OCR frame, red only, blank, applying image. Up version colon 10.0.19.
Actually, maybe we do need to have it in full screen to actually get it.
Menu console skip full screen check.
Right, it may look weird, but I'm on a full screen, and then do it that way. That way, our command prompt window should show. Okay.
OCR frame, red blank, applying image. Blank.
Actually,
up version colon.
It doesn't give us the output with OCR. Usually it does. Good to know. All right. I'm going to go ahead and full screen the window again. At least it should be. I don't care if it is, actually.
Select administrator.
Let's go ahead and just use narrator. It doesn't usually take doesn't usually take terribly long to apply, so let's see what the last output that we have here is.
Bypass.
Yeah, I can't tell if it's still going or not.
Administrate form fields. Administrate. Oh.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead.
Oh.
And you know what? Actually, I believe
DISM/apply image.
I believe we have our console window back, so I believe the operation did complete. So actually, we can check by just doing so the next thing we need to actually do is go to that directory anyway, because we need to copy boot files. So let's just type W:"
X:"
and if we do dir quick,
May 5th, 2023, 4:27 a.m. dir program files.
Yeah, there's all our
volume in drive
directory.
W has no label. Volume serial number is DEF2E8A4.
And you can see everything in here.
December 7th,
right
2019, 1:31 a.m. dir users. May 5th, 2023, 4:27 a.m. dir program files. x86. May 5th, 2023, 4:27 a.m. dir program files. x86.
You can see
May 5th, 2023, 4:27 a.m. dir program files. May 5th, 2023, 4:27 a.m. dir program files. x86.
Yep,
12/07/2019 1:31 a.m. dir users 05/05/2023 4:27 a.m. dir Windows 0 file.
Yep, there's all our
0 bytes 5 dir s 53,916,028,000.
You can see all our Windows files there. So now let's go ahead and just do a quick BCD boot.
Space.
And we'll pull the boot files from the Windows directory. So what BCD boot's going to do is it's going to copy the boot files over to our system partition. That way this thing will actually be able to boot. So we actually have Windows. We just need to copy boot files to where they need to go, and we use the BCD boot utility to do that. So assuming I have that. Yep, let's go ahead and just BCD boot. All right, that's done. So, and then we're gonna type W:// Windows, and we're gonna use /S And then after that, we're going to tell it where it should go. So it's going to go to our system partition. So S : /. And then the firmware type is going to be BIOS. So BIOS in this case. And if that command was typed correctly, we should hear it say boot files successfully copied. So let's see.
Boot files successfully created.
Or yep, whatever copied, created, whatever it is. All right. Now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go into, I actually am going to very quickly toggle back over to the installer window if it's still up. Hang on, because we need to actually shut the system down.
Windows setup.
And
keyboard or.
So I'm going to go ahead.
Windows setup. Yes. Yes.
And from here, I'm going to change the boot
Screen reader.
Because I think our ISO
console
is
full screen
selected right now.
Full screen toolbar. Save this password in your full serial guest no previous console dash config exit details page add h can't be get top snap menu shut down put pause top run push but details not console so send key view menu virtual machine menu file menu view menu full screen chat menu item checked not checked file menu virtual shut down set force off alert via no yes put win 10 guest is not constant h os
and just to prove that this worked,
boot device or table with checkbox check sorted from 1 not checkbox check sorted disk 1
there we go.
Direct current config dash apply push console selected run.
Now the next thing we should see it do is show a
view menu details full screen chat
getting ready message up on screen as it boots for the first time, and then we should be able to turn on narrator. I'm only going to go as far as the getting ready thing before I force close this VM, and we'll do a UEFI install. And that process does look relatively similar to the legacy install. There is a couple different changes to the process. It's relatively similar, but I'm gonna go ahead and just see what this thing is showing.
OCR frame getting red.
Yeah,
getting red.
You can tell by the viewing the OCR.
Virtual machine no preview win 10 dash left on win 10 on camo slash file menu virtual view menu send key menu console so hit run pause toggle shut down menu toggle but shut down push button
and we're just
pause toggle button not press pause shut down menu snapshots toggle but begin installation cancel install HW dash art details page dash 8 can't be toggle snap menu shut pause run push but details not console selected send key menu view menu console selected full screen not checked file menu shut down force alert no yes put win 10 on
this does not need to stay on
win 10 on camo virtual machine manager virtual machine win 10 dash left on get console
let's go ahead and boot up our UEFI install now. And this is going to be slightly different, and you'll see why in just a second. It's not hard, it really isn't, and this is probably how most of you will do your installs because most people have this type of hardware.
Press control Win10 escape consoles menu resi full screen details full screen chat
full screen option.
Press control Alt to release pointer.
All right, I'll wait for that to boot. Shouldn't take too long. And then I'll go into our command prompt window and we can start this install. It's very, very similar to the way that I just did it, except there's some changes. So yeah.
Starting
all right,
narrator.
here's narrator.
Windows setup
again, command prompt.
Text area. Restore size.
I'm gonna go ahead and maximize it. And we're gonna go ahead and use disk part again. That's the first thing we're going to be doing here.
X:\sources.
And
disk is not
disk part.
On computer.
There we go. All right. List disk.
Disk part.
Should give
disk
us our
part.
disks.
List disk. Disk number. Status. Size.
Okay.
Free. Dyn. GPT. Dash. Disk 0. Online. 59 GB. 0B. Disk part.
Okay. That's actually how much is free. We already have a partition because I'm using the same disk as I was for the other install. So the first thing we actually need to do after we select the disk is type clean.
Disk part succeeded in cleaning the disk.
Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do convert. Now just like before, we can Windows actually likes to default to using MBR for its partition scheme. So what we need to do is always convert it to the correct format. Even if you're in legacy BIOS, always do the convert MBR. Or in this case for UEFI, the command is convert GPT. We're going to be using a different partition table for this. So This is what most UEFI firmware expects the disk to be formatted as in order to boot. So we're going to do convert GPT.
Disk part. Disk part successfully converted the selected disk to GPT format.
All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do something very similar to what we did, except there's a couple changes to it. So we're going to go ahead and create the partitions as we did before. So CRE space PAR space PRI, and we'll make it 200 megabytes.
E equal to 0.
Now if that
disk part,
command was typed correctly, it should create it.
Disk part succeeded in creating this.
Okay, so we don't need to mark it as active this time. What we need to do is we're going to go straight to formatting it. However, we're not formatting this as NTFS like we did before, at least not this partition. We're going to format it with the FAT32 file system instead of NTFS, because UEFI, a lot of what most computer manufacturers do is they provide a driver for FAT32 only. So really what UEFI does, or what this boot partition is going to do, is the firmware is going to detect it, it's going to boot from it, and then what this partition is going to do is it's actually going to boot Windows for us. So before, really, you just had a boot flag that told the BIOS to try to boot, but in this case it's actually a special partition that's created that does it instead. So we're going to do format fs equals FAT32 quick. If that's
disk
typed
part
correctly,
format fs equals FAT32 quick. 0% completed.
Okay, here we go.
100%
All
completed.
right. Now again, we're going to mount this as our system partition. So assign a letter equals s. Again, use the short form where you can. It's going to save you time. So instead of the word, you can type all this out, but just use the short form for the commands. It's going to save you some time.
Disk part successfully assigned the drive letter or mount point.
Okay, we assigned that letter S. We're going to create a second partition, which is going to be, oh, and one more thing. There's no boot flag for UEFI, which is why we didn't have to give it like the active flag or anything like that. So we're just going to go ahead and create our second partition now. It's going to take up the rest of the disk.
Disk part. Disk part succeeded in create.
This one's going to be NTFS.
Okay. Disk part format FS. Disk part format FS equals NTFS quick. 0% completed. 100% completed. Disk part successfully formatted the volume.
Okay. All right, that's formatted. So we're going to assign that letter W.
Disk part. Disk part successfully assigned.
All right, we're done with disk part.
X.
Now, process is exactly the same. DISM
space
/ apply image / image file D : sources / install
period
wim
space
and then our apply our index actually
space
the index. We're gonna do 6 again. Let's just do Windows 10 Pro like we did before, and then / apply dir W :
X : sources. Disk is not recognized as an
DISM, not disk.
K. Disk / apply image / image file D : sources / install .wim index 6 / apply W / dism / apply image / image file D : sources / install .wim index 6 / apply W / dism / apply image / image file D :
Let's just view the output using the
administrator X : Windows / SYSTEM32 / CMD.exe window. Administrator.
Can I not?
Space.
Can I not view what it's doing?
Dism / apply.
Alright, let's check our syntax.
Cap W : R : R X I sp
There's our
space
there's our but there's
X
our little
colon backslash
error right there.
slash
There was no slash.
X colon I D S M slash
Yeah, that's one of the weird things about narrator is it doesn't really
P
takes a second sometimes to
hyphen I E space slash I A G
now let's see if this is typed correctly.
colon cap backs S O U
Actually, let's just run it.
dism slash apply image slash image file d colon backslash sources backslash install dot wim slash index 6 slash applitter w backslash deployment image servicing and management tool version 10.0.1904.1949 error 3 the system cannot find
I'm just gonna retype it.
slash y hyphen e slash slash x colon backslash sources x back backs backs x colon r space colon x backs x colon backs d I dism slash apply image
Alright.
x colon backslash
Why isn't it doing it? Hold on.
back colon cap double colon y l administrate
I'm gonna go
administrate
ahead and read the
form fields
output
items
there.
paragraph
Can I not
line
read that? Oh, there we
line
go.
administrate not a narrator slash x colon backslash sources y e space slash x colon backslash sources m space colon x colon backs back x backs x
Let's use OCR instead of narrator to actually see the output because I don't want to.
OCR X colon the dism log file can be found if the system cannot find the path specified. Error colon 3. Version colon 10.01 deployment image servicing and man.
Where is that
Win 10
that WIM file? Hold on.
x colon backslash sources. The system cannot find the drive specified.
D colon backslash.
X colon
Is that not where it mounted? Hold on.
x colon backslash sources e colon backslash May 5th, 2023 5:50 a.m. 1,572,208
What in the actual
volume in
heck?
drive e is a comma underscore x6
So it never usually mounts there. I don't know why it did. Okay. Yeah, usually it doesn't mount there. Usually it mounts in D. It mounted in E. That's why I was struggling to get it. Okay, so let's go ahead and modify our syntax a little bit. And I guess that is one thing you'll have to mind is you may need to check other drive letters if it's not found in D. I just assumed it was. All right, we can use DISM the way we were doing. So DISM slash apply hyphen image slash index colon 6 slash image
e colon backslash
file
dism slash apply
e colon backslash sources
S U R F backs
slash apply dir colon
cap W
colon backslash.
backs deployment image.
Here's our output. Let's see what it's
Win 10
doing here.
Applying image equals
version colon deployment image servicing and management tool.
equals
Win 10 dash
equals
All right.
4.0%
So it's applying.
equals
Took long enough.
Win 10
equals
Yeah, and it's gonna do that
9.0%
the whole time.
equals
through, because narrator's stupid.
10.0% equals 11.0%.
So while it does that, one other thing I will mention here is you can actually install Windows from another, like a running system. If you don't want to boot
Exiting
from
narrator.
the ISO and you just want to copy the install.wim, and let's say you want to install to another drive, you don't need an ISO. All you do, but you don't need to necessarily boot from it to install. All you need to really do is you just need to mount the ISO somewhere or obtain the install.wim from somewhere and then get the index that you need to install. And then the process is the same. You just replace d:\sources with wherever the install.wim is located. So if it's in your user account, then you would type out like c:\users\user and then whatever directory the install.wim is at, and then install that one. So yeah, so you can do it that way too. You can get the ISO and get the install.wim out of the sources folder and put it somewhere if you want to. You don't necessarily need to boot from an ISO. Actually, then you can use like JAWS or NVDA versus Narrator to actually perform this thing. And that might go faster because it's a lot easier to read the command output with that than it is using Narrator. That is for sure. So this also will work if you have like a Windows 10 PE or Windows PE and you want to install it that way. I know there's an accessible talking Windows pre-installation environment that is out there, so that'll work too. Just you do the process the exact same way you're doing here. You do have to have an ISO and a WIM file with it though, on another drive. Can't be the directory. It can't be the drive that the PE is loaded in. I don't even know if the PE has a. It may have a WIM, but supply your own. All right, let's
Administrator.
go ahead and just see what's doing here.
Space. Dism slash.
All right, that went. All right, now it's time to use BCD boot. It does look slightly different. Not really. So let's go ahead and go to our W directory. And go ahead and run dir.
May 5th, 2023, 4:27 a.m. dir program files.
Yeah.
x86.
And you can hear it. There, all our Windows files are there. So now let's go ahead and run BCD boot.
Oh.
Actually get it correct.
Space.
BCD boot W:\Windows.
W:\.
And then /s.
Space.
S:\. And then /F. And then this time we're going to type UEFI instead of BIOS. And it's going to give us that
boot
same
files successfully created
message. There we go. Our boot files
Win10
are there.
on Camus
So let's go ahead
Win10
and click inside the VM window. So
Win10 drawing area.
Narrator dialog. Turn off.
I'm going to
okay.
go ahead and
Administrate.
get rid of that.
Administrate. Windows setup window.
And I'm going to hit
Windows. Yes.
Yes.
Button.
Let's get rid of that. And
Console-GF Siri guest nope full screen to exit tab H cancel begin in top snap menu shut pause toggle button not pressed run push details console selected radio send key view menu view menu virtual machine menu shut migrate shutdown menu force off alert the nope yes Win10
and because I'm in a
not
virtual
details
machine,
not
I need to change the boot order.
Memory boot options edit boot tape checkbox check solid from 1 not checkbox check solid disk 1 direct and config dash apply push
there we go.
console selected run
Now I can run this view
menu details not full screen resi full checked.
And if that worked as expected, we should see it boot. Again, I'm not going to go through the out-of-box experience, at least not in this video, because I'm sure most of you, if you're doing a command line install of Windows, you've probably gone through the OBE so many times that it's not even worth showing. And it's not that hard to get through. So, let's go ahead and view our output of OCR.
OCR frame getting ready.
We have the exact same prompt as we did.
Win10 on Vert-Manager app virtual machine manager for Vert-No next. No previous.
That's it for that.
Win10-F.
I'm gonna go ahead and
Win10-F file menu virtual machine menu virtual shut migrate shut reboot view send key menu virtual VM dash pause shutdown menu reboot force off alert no yes push Win10.
Kill that too. All right, so that's how that's done. I hope that gave you guys a good understanding of how that worked. So yeah, that's basically a way that can be done. There is a way. One thing I'll mention is recovery is not the recovery partition. I didn't set it up. It does it. There is a way to get it, but I didn't set it up just because most people aren't booting into recovery on a daily basis. But if you want it, there is a way to get it. And these instructions actually come from some documentation on Microsoft Learn. They're out there, and there's actually a sample script that you can run. And basically, what I did is I just took the syntax from the script and typed it all out manually. But there is a script out there that you can modify as need be to go ahead and like automate the process that I'm doing here with diskpart and with DISM. But you do have to have that. You probably want that on your installation media or on another drive. You need the files somewhere, and you need them accessible to the install media. Again, what you could just do is use an already existing install and install it to another disk. If you have the ability to do that, I highly recommend you do it versus using ISO, because it's going to make your life so much easier. Because you can have the files you need right there at yeah. So that's that. I'll leave the link to Microsoft's documentation on this in the video description, because I highly suggest that you read that too. And yeah, they do have code for a sample script that you can create if need be. So that's there, and really all I did is just took the syntax from that and did it. And they have the instructions there on recovery for both BIOS and UEFI. The code you have to do is a little bit longer, so that's why I didn't do it, because it's not really something you want to memorize. There's an ID, especially for UEFI, that you need to have, that really you need the script for. So I guess it could be done by hand, but why would you? So that's that. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope I was able to like teach maybe you guys something that maybe you didn't already know about installing Windows. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. And as you guys know, I'm getting real close to 300 subscribers. So stay tuned for that special. I do have something in mind for that I think a lot of my longtime fans will enjoy me doing. So it's going to be a live stream, and I'll do it shortly, probably shortly after I hit 300, when my schedule allows for it. So thank you guys for watching, and hey, get me up to 300 so you guys can see that happen. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.